It was the kind of summer night that feels like it's holding its breath, thick with humidity, swollen with silence, the air too still, too quiet, like something was about to happen but hadn't decided what yet. The cicadas had gone mute, the crickets hesitant. Even the breeze seemed to avoid the backyard that night. It was just me, the hot tub, and the ghost of a feeling I couldn't quite name yet. Tyler had texted me around 8:15. Hot tub? Just us tonight. I need to talk. That's all he wrote. No emojis. No teasing gifs like he usually sent when he wanted to hang. It felt heavier than usual. And knowing Tyler, playful, magnetic Tyler, it was strange for him to be so direct. But I didn't ask questions. I never did when it came to him. Maybe that was the first mistake. His parents were out of town as usual. Some real estate conference in Miami or wherever rich, bored people went to drink overpriced wine and avoid their own kids. His house always felt too big when they were gone. Too quiet. And yet, every time I stepped through the back gate into his yard, I felt pulled into it, like gravity had shifted just a little around him. The hot tub was already bubbling when I got there. Steam rising, soft light glowing beneath the surface, reflecting off the glass panels of his father's modernist patio design. Tyler sat inside, arms sprawled across the edge, his eyes closed, head tilted back. He looked like he belonged there, like some kind of Greek statue thawing in the heat. I hesitated for a second before stepping closer. Something about his posture, too still, too deliberate, made my stomach twist. "Hey," I said, trying to sound casual. He opened one eye and smiled. Not his usual grin. Something quieter. Sadder? "Hey, come in." I stripped down to my swim trunks and slid in beside him. The water was hotter than I expected, almost scalding. Or maybe that was just me. The air between us felt tight, like it didn't want to stretch. We talked. At first, about nothing. Music, plans for after graduation, the usual. But then he went quiet. He started watching me. Not like before, not like best friends do when they're bored. This was different. Focused. Intentional. It made my skin prickle even though the water was boiling. "I've been thinking," he finally said, voice low. "About stuff. About you." I laughed. Or tried to. "What, like how bad I am at Mario Kart?" "No," he said and turned to face me fully. "Not that kind of stuff." That's when I noticed, the way his hand was resting just a little too close to my thigh under the water. The way his eyes weren't blinking. The way the jets weren't loud enough to drown out my heartbeat pounding in my ears. There was a pause. Long, heavy. Pregnant with something I couldn't name. "Do you ever think about us?" he asked, barely above a whisper. The words didn't register at first. And when they did, I wanted to rewind time 10 seconds and stop them before they reached me. Because the truth? I had. I thought about him more than I should. More than a best friend should. And I knew, right then, that something was going to happen in that hot tub tonight. Something we'd never be able to undo. But what I didn't know was how far he was willing to take it. Or how much I'd let him. Would I stop him? Could I? Or had I already crossed that line the moment I showed up? Tyler poured himself another drink from the half-empty bottle of Jack Daniels sitting on the side table, the glass sweating in his hand. He didn't offer me one, and I didn't ask. I wasn't even sure if he realized I noticed. His mind was somewhere else, his eyes staring into the bubbling surface like it could give him answers. The faint hum of the jets filled the silence, but it wasn't enough to drown out the tension rising like steam between us. We'd been friends since middle school. The kind of friendship built on inside jokes, sleepovers, and an unspoken understanding that neither of us ever tried too hard to define. But that night felt like a fracture. Like the edges of something safe were splintering, giving way to something I hadn't prepared for. "Remember when we used to sneak out and climb the water tower?" he asked, breaking the silence. I smirked. "Yeah. You nearly pissed yourself the first time we got caught." He chuckled, a real one this time. "I wasn't scared. I just didn't want my mom to find out." "That's what scared you the most?" His smile faltered. "Back then?" "Yeah. Now, it's other stuff." He trailed off again, letting the words hang. I waited, unsure whether to push or stay silent. I chose silence. The sky above was a deep, endless navy, stars barely visible through the thick curtain of heat. The yard was fenced in, lined with those tall hedges his dad liked to keep trimmed to military precision. It felt like a little world of its own, isolated, detached from the rest of town. From consequences. He finally turned to face me, and the sudden eye contact startled me. "I think I've always been kind of in love with you," he said. The words dropped like stones into the water, sending invisible ripples across everything. I froze. Not from fear, but from recognition. Because some part of me, buried under layers of denial and carefully practiced friendship, had been waiting for him to say something like that. But not here. Not like this. He looked away quickly. "Forget I said that." I wanted to respond. Say something comforting or maybe even honest. But I didn't. I couldn't. My mind was racing too fast. Tyler took a sip from his drink and then set it down. "It's just weird, you know? How I can say that out loud and the world doesn't end." I looked at him, unsure if I was seeing my best friend or someone else entirely. The lines between the two blurred more by the second. "Tyler." He interrupted me. "It's okay. I don't expect you to feel the same. I just needed to say it. I'm tired of pretending." I swallowed hard. "I never wanted you to pretend." His face softened, but there was a flicker of something darker in his eyes. Hunger? Frustration? Or maybe something more dangerous, hope. He moved a little closer in the water, so close I could feel the heat of his thigh brushing against mine. I flinched but didn't pull away. And that, I think, was the second mistake. We sat like that for a while, just breathing, the only sound the soft churn of bubbles and the occasional nightbird call from somewhere beyond the fence. And then it happened. From inside the house, a sound. A faint, high-pitched whine. Almost mechanical. I turned instinctively, my body tensing. "What was that?" I asked. Tyler didn't even glance toward the house. "Old heater. It always does that." But something about the way he said it, too casual, too fast, made my skin crawl. He must have seen the doubt in my face because he quickly added, "Swear to God. It's nothing. Just ignore it." I tried. I really did. But it was like my body had picked up on something my brain hadn't yet. That low, animal alertness when things don't feel right. Still I let it go. He inched even closer. "You've never asked me if I've been with a guy before," he said quietly. I didn't think it mattered. "Doesn't it?" I hesitated. "Have you?" Tyler didn't answer right away. He leaned his head back again, staring at the sky. Then, once. I wasn't sure why, but that answer hit me harder than I expected. "When?" "Senior year. That exchange student. Nico." I blinked. "The French guy." "Yeah. After prom." "Jesus." It didn't mean anything. "Then why did you do it?" His eyes met mine. "Because I wanted to know if it felt like how I imagined it would feel with you." The silence that followed was deafening. My throat went dry. I could feel his hand brushing mine now, fingers grazing slowly, tentatively, like he was testing me. I should have said something. I should have pulled away. But I didn't. Instead, I whispered, "And did it?" He didn't blink. No. We were both leaning in now. I don't know who moved first. Maybe it was me. Maybe it was him. All I remember is the water lapping at my chest, the smell of chlorine and whiskey, and the unbearable closeness of his mouth to mine. Then the power went out. All at once. Lights, jets, everything. Total blackness. We both gasped. The hum of the tub disappeared, leaving a gaping silence. "What the hell?" I started. Tyler stood abruptly, water sloshing. "Stay here." He grabbed a towel and climbed out, dripping wet, disappearing through the glass doors into the darkened house. I sat there, alone, heart pounding. The steam rose around me like fog, and suddenly the tub didn't feel safe. It felt exposed. Vulnerable. The strange noise from earlier echoed in my head. The way Tyler brushed it off. Too fast. Too rehearsed. Minutes passed. Then 5. Then 10. I called out, "Tyler?" No answer. I got out, wrapped myself in a towel, and stepped cautiously toward the house. The sliding door was still cracked open. The living room was pitch black, save for the faint glow of a single light coming from upstairs, his room. Why would he go up there? I moved slowly, every creak of the floorboards sounding like a gunshot. Tyler? I said again, softer now. Still nothing. I made my way up the stairs, gripping the banister, heart hammering in my chest. When I reached his door, I paused. The light was on. The door slightly ajar. And then, from inside, I heard it. A whisper. Not his voice. A different one. And laughing. The door creaked slightly as I nudged it open with trembling fingers. Tyler's room hadn't changed since we were 16. Same blacklight poster curling at the edges, same bookshelf stuffed with comics and old DVDs, and that same beat-up gray couch under the window where we used to sit and game until sunrise. But something was different. Tyler was standing in the middle of the room, shirtless, his back to me. A dim lamp on his nightstand cast an amber halo around him, making his wet skin glisten. His phone was on the floor, screen cracked, and next to it, discarded, was a second towel. And there was someone else in the room. Seated on the edge of the bed, legs spread casually apart, was a guy I didn't recognize. Shirtless too. Maybe a year or two older than us. His eyes met mine immediately, steady, unreadable. There was no apology in them. No shame. Tyler turned when he heard me enter, and the look on his face wasn't fear. It was challenge. Like he wanted me to see. Who is this? I asked, voice hoarse. The stranger smirked. Guess he didn't tell you. Tyler stepped forward. This is Micah. He's someone I met online. He came over earlier. Earlier? Before I got there? I thought it was just us tonight, I said, the words stinging more than I meant them to. I didn't know if I was going to go through with it, Tyler said. I wasn't sure. But then, you came and I couldn't think straight. I looked at him, trying to piece together what I was feeling. Confusion? Betrayal? Jealousy? Or worse, recognition. Micah leaned back on his elbows, watching us like a spectator at a play. You two got a lot of unresolved tension, he said casually. He talks about you, you know. A lot. Tyler shot him a look. Micah. But the guy didn't stop. He said you were straight. That you'd never go for him. That he'd rather feel something with me than feel nothing with you. I took a step back, stunned. Is that true? Tyler didn't answer right away. He looked at the floor. I didn't mean it like that. So what did you mean? I snapped. Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you invited me here to confess your feelings, right before hooking up with some random guy you met online. Micah stood up now, stretching lazily. I should probably go. He didn't look rushed. He didn't look embarrassed. He just grabbed his jeans, pulled them on without a word, and walked out past me, brushing my shoulder on the way. The door clicked shut behind him. Silence. Tyler finally looked at me. I didn't plan this. I swear. You invited me, I said, voice shaking. You told me you wanted to talk. Then you dropped that you've been in love with me and then, what? You wanted me to stop you? Or join? He winced. I don't know. Maybe. I stared at him. Do you even understand what you're doing to me right now? He came closer, eyes wet now, not from tears, but something worse. Regret. I wanted you to see it. I wanted to know if you'd feel something. Anything. Because you never said. You never said anything. You never asked, I fired back. I didn't have to, he shouted, the mask finally cracking. I saw the way you looked at me sometimes. I felt it. But you just kept acting like it wasn't real. Like it was some phase we weren't allowed to talk about. I shook my head, backing away until my spine hit the wall. So this is payback? You humiliate me to make me feel what you felt. No. He stepped forward. This wasn't supposed to be about hurting you. I thought if I could just show you that I wasn't waiting anymore, that maybe you'd finally say it. I stared at him for a long time. His chest was still heaving. His hands curled into fists at his sides like he was holding in the last of his resolve. I don't know what you want me to say, I said quietly. That I've thought about it? About you? That there have been nights where I wanted something to happen, but I was too scared to make the first move. He blinked. Then say it, he whispered. I took a step toward him. Fine. I wanted you. Okay? I've wanted you for years. But I buried it. Because I thought if I said it out loud, it would ruin everything. And maybe it just did. His lip trembled. It doesn't have to. Doesn't it? I looked around the room, still thick with the scent of Micah's cologne and chlorine. You don't get to play both sides, Ty. You don't get to tell me you love me while someone else's towel is still wet on your bed. I was scared too, he said, voice cracking. I thought I lost you already. I thought maybe this would force something out of us, one way or the other. Well, congratulations, I said. You got your answer. And yet, I didn't move. I stood there, eyes locked with his, the room pulsing with heat and guilt and something I couldn't name. And then, without thinking, I kissed him. Desperate. Angry. Our teeth knocked. Our hands clawed. It wasn't sweet or soft or romantic. It was punishment. It was years of silence exploding at once. And when I pulled away, his eyes were glassy. Why now? He whispered. Why not before? I didn't answer. Because I didn't know. Maybe I'd been waiting for a moment like this. Maybe I'd been waiting for him to push me to the edge, so I'd finally fall. But now, midair, I wasn't sure where I'd land. Tyler stood there, lips parted, breathing fast. My kiss had taken the wind out of both of us, and now the silence between us felt like a chasm. Every sound was exaggerated, the slow whir of the ceiling fan, the distant hum of traffic outside, the ticking of the lamp as it cooled. I didn't think you'd actually do that, he said finally, voice barely above a whisper. I swallowed. Neither did I. A long pause. His fingers hovered near mine, uncertain. Not touching, but so close it made my skin burn. Was it real, he asked? Or was that just about Micah? About proving something? I looked away. I didn't know how to answer without lying or confessing too much. Maybe it was both. Maybe it wasn't supposed to happen at all. I don't know, I admitted. But it felt like something I've been holding back for so long. I couldn't stop it. Tyler nodded slowly. I needed you to feel it. I needed me to feel it. For once. He walked to the bed and sat down, shoulders slumped. The glow from the lamp cut sharp lines across his face. He looked older in that moment. Like he'd been carrying years of silence and uncertainty, and it had finally buckled under him. You know, when I met Micah, I didn't even like him that much, he said. He was just easy. He wanted me without hesitation. And for a second that felt like enough. I sat down beside him, careful not to let our legs touch. That's not what you wanted though, is it? I asked. He shook his head. No. I wanted you to want me. But I couldn't wait around anymore. I thought if I crossed a line, maybe it would push you over yours. It did. But... I exhaled. But now I don't know what that means. He turned his head, studying me with those eyes I'd known for half my life. So what do we do now? I didn't answer right away. I stared at the floor, tracing a scuff on the wood with my foot. I could still smell the chlorine on my skin. Still feel the heat of the water, the taste of his mouth, the ache of something unfinished. I don't think we can go back, I said finally. Tyler nodded. I don't want to. But I don't know how to go forward either. Not with what happened tonight. You mean Micah? I nodded slowly. He looked down at his hands, flexing them like he was trying to feel something again. I wanted to hurt you a little. I know that sounds messed up. But I wanted you to feel what I'd been feeling. And now that I do? I don't know, he said. Now it just hurts more. A beat passed. He reached over and placed his hand on top of mine. Not possessively. Not even romantically. Just there. I don't want to lose you, he said, eyes wet again. Even if I can't have all of you. My chest tightened. I don't think I can be just your friend anymore, I said, almost choking on the words. His grip tensed. That's the part that scares me, he whispered. Outside, the wind picked up, rattling the windows slightly. Somewhere downstairs, the ice in a forgotten glass cracked. The house was still, like it was holding its breath along with us. He looked up at me and I could tell he wanted to ask something. But he didn't. Instead, he stood, walked over to the lamp and turned it off. The room plunged into shadow, just moonlight casting soft outlines on the floor and his silhouette. "Do you want to stay?" he asked. My heart caught in my throat. I thought of all the years we spent pretending this wasn't there. All the subtle glances, the almost touches, the tension just beneath every joke. And then I thought of tonight. The kiss, Micah, the line that had finally been crossed. Did I want to stay? If I did, what would that mean? I stood up slowly, my towel still damp against my skin, and walked over to where he stood by the bed. "I don't know," I said. He didn't move. We stood there in the dark, breath and heartbeat the only sounds between us. The weight of everything we'd said, everything we hadn't, settled over us like fog. And in that thick, suspended moment, I realized something terrifying. This wasn't the end of anything. It was the beginning. Of what? I didn't know. But I wasn't sure I'd be able to walk away this time. The morning light poured through the slits in Tyler's blinds like it was trying to erase the night before. But it couldn't. Nothing could. I sat on the edge of the bed, fully dressed, staring at the corner of the rug like it held the answers I didn't know how to ask for. Tyler was still asleep, curled on his side, one arm half reaching toward where I'd been lying hours ago. I hadn't slept. I hadn't even really closed my eyes. Every time I tried, I saw Micah's face again. Smirking. Watching. Knowing. And then Tyler's, desperate, beautiful, broken. The kiss. The heat. The hurt. I rubbed my eyes, my chest tight. This wasn't what I'd imagined all those nights I'd let the thought of him slip past the defenses I'd built. It wasn't supposed to feel this heavy. Tyler stirred. His eyes fluttered open, and for a moment, there was this softness, like we were just two friends waking up after a long night. Like everything hadn't changed. "Hey," he murmured, voice thick with sleep. I nodded but didn't smile. "Hey." He sat up slowly, the sheet slipping down his chest. His hair was a mess. His eyes searched mine, cautious. "Are you leaving?" I hesitated. "I don't know." I needed space to think. A long pause. Then, "Do you regret it?" I looked at him, really looked at him. "No," I said honestly. "But I'm scared of what it means." "Me too." The silence between us stretched taut. He pulled his knees up to his chest. "Micah texted me this morning." My stomach tightened. What did he say? That he hopes we figured our shit out. And that I should probably delete his number. I couldn't help the small, bitter smile that curled my lips. Sounds like he knew what he was doing. Tyler nodded. He was a catalyst, not a solution. "But we still don't have one," I said quietly. He looked at me then, really looked. "Maybe we're not supposed to yet." I stood, grabbing my keys from the dresser. "I need time to figure out who I am outside of all this. Outside of you." He flinched, but nodded. "I get it." I walked to the door, pausing just before the hallway. My fingers hovered near the doorknob, reluctant. "I don't know if we'll be okay after this," I said. "But I hope we are." He didn't answer right away. When he did, his voice was barely audible. "I've waited years already. I can wait a little longer." I left before I changed my mind. But as I stepped into the morning light, I realized something was following me, not regret. Terrifying, fragile hope. The kind that doesn't promise a happy ending, but refuses to rule one out. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough, for now. I still remember the way the steam curled around his neck that night, like it was trying to warn me. It was just supposed to be another harmless Friday at Tyler's place. We'd done it 100 times before. Same playlist looping through his Bluetooth speaker, same cheap wine in red Solo cups, and the hot tub, our refuge from the noise of real life. Just me and him. And that silence between us that kept getting louder. I parked my car in his driveway around 8:37 p.m. The sky was already an ink spill, stars smudged behind thin clouds. His porch light flickered like it always did, glitchy, annoying, and oddly comforting. I remember hesitating before knocking. Something about the air felt too still, too expectant. Tyler opened the door with his usual grin, towel around his waist, hair wet. Like he'd been waiting. He always looked better after a shower. Relaxed. Exposed somehow. And I hated myself for noticing. "Hot tub's ready," he said, stepping aside. "You're late." "I brought the good chips," I said, raising the bag as my excuse. Inside, everything smelled like eucalyptus and chlorine. He'd lit candles again. Those little tea lights he swore were just for vibe, but I knew better. Tyler didn't do anything without intention. His house was quiet. No signs of his parents. No signs of anyone else. Just the sound of water bubbling outside, and that low, heavy beat from the speaker looping a remix of some moody pop song. We didn't talk much as we changed. We never did. Not when we were alone like this. The thing is, Tyler had always been my best friend. But lately, something had shifted. The way he looked at me lingered too long. The way his hands brushed mine in passing. The way he'd started sending texts that felt like they were meant for someone else, and then deleted them before I could reply. And me? I'd started dreaming about him. Waking up ashamed. Curious. Angry. Wanting more. Wanting something I couldn't name. We slipped into the hot tub like always. But everything about it felt different. The heat clung to our skin like it was trying to pull something out of us. He sat across from me, but closer than usual. Legs brushing mine under the foam. And then, he said it. One sentence. 4 words. Still echoing in my head. "I need to tell you." He trailed off, eyes searching mine. His mouth didn't finish the sentence. But his body did. And what happened next? I should have stopped it. I didn't. Now, I can't stop thinking about it. About him. About what it means when your best friend crosses a line you didn't know you'd been guarding. Or maybe daring him to break. What would you have done? Because I can't unlive it now. And the worst part? I'm not sure I want to. It started the night his parents were out of town. Tyler's house always felt different when they weren't there, quieter, looser, like the walls finally exhaled. It was a sleek, modern place tucked into the hills, the kind of home where everything smelled like expensive hand soap and silence. His mom taught Pilates, his dad owned a chain of auto body shops, and they were always conveniently away. This time it was Napa. I remember the weather clearly because it didn't match the way I felt. The air was cool, still humming with the late spring heat that clung to your skin like a second shirt. Cicadas chirped, and the pool lights bathed the backyard in this dreamy, bluish haze. Peaceful. Predictable. Except it wasn't. Something had shifted. Something in him. Or maybe in me. We'd been best friends since freshman year, inseparable ever since. Tyler was the golden boy, effortless charm, perfect teeth, always just a little too close when he talked to you. I was the quieter one. Calculated. Guarded. We balanced each other. Lately, though, that balance felt off. It was in the way he hugged me now, longer, firmer, like he was measuring something. Or the way he texted late at night, saying things like, "I miss you. Don't laugh." Followed by the laughing emoji, like that made it okay. But the truth? I didn't laugh. Because sometimes I missed him too. In ways I couldn't explain. Or admit. Not even to myself. When I walked through the sliding glass doors that night, he was already in the hot tub, shirtless, drink in hand, steam rising around him like he was being summoned. His body looked different. Not because it was new, I'd seen him like that before, but because I saw it differently. He grinned when he saw me. "Took you long enough." "I brought the bottle you like," I said, setting it on the edge. "Didn't know if you'd already started." He shrugged, holding up his glass. "Only a sip. You're the main event." I laughed it off, but the words clung. The main event? Since when did he talk like that? We sank into the heat together. The jets hummed. The silence between us grew louder. And then it happened. Just as I was leaning back, trying to relax, Tyler said it. Casually, like he was commenting on the weather. "Do you ever think about what it'd be like if we crossed the line?" My heart stalled. "What line?" I asked, even though I knew. He didn't answer. Just sipped his drink and stared into the water like it was hiding the truth. I laughed again, forced. "You're drunk." "No," he said, eyes locked on mine. "I'm just done pretending." The jets bubbled louder. The night wrapped tighter around us. And in that moment, I realized something I wasn't ready to face. This wasn't a joke. Not a test. Something was going to happen. But what if I wanted it to? Would that make me guilty? Or just finally honest?